Social Media University. So I'm sitting down today virtually because we kind of all have to do that right now with a friend of mine who has been blown up as of late for the last year, 2 years. And he's been faced with some stuff from YouTube right now, which we're going to talk about. A whole lot of things that are going on in Jack's life that I'm excited to talk about. But first, and most importantly, how are you doing today, Jack?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm held up in Hamilton, Ontario right now.
Huge.
It's months. Has it been 3 months since quarantine
I
started?
think it might be 3 months now.
Yeah, guys, getting a little bit of cabin fever, but just got my new desk set up in here and comfortable right now. Got a nice
Huge.
hoodie on.
You're good to go. You got your coffee, you got your new desk, you're ready to
Got my
roll.
coffee, got a desk. I'm good.
That's awesome, man. So there's so many things that I want to ask you about because obviously you don't live a traditional life professionally or personally or anything close to that of the sort, really. So there's a lot
No.
of things that I want to ask you, but and also a lot of things that I want to outline because a lot of people are very interested by how you go about supporting your lifestyle, and also a lot of people are unaware of your master plan, which I'm well aware of, but I want to share that as well. So the first thing I want to talk about today is your course, because so you worked on that, you launched that. Can you tell me all about one, what was the motivation for creating that course, and then two, what was the process going through filming that, putting the info product together, and actually selling it?
So the course is called Denmo Social, and it's basically a course that teaches particularly men social skills and how to approach, talk to girls, build status, build social groups, and overall just develop charisma and the ability to talk to multiple people at once. And even simple stuff like go on dates with girls, send messages. A lot of guys don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So what happened was when I started my channel, I was doing drunk interviews, and they were funny. People liked them, but they were really poorly received on YouTube with views. So the channel wasn't growing. And what I wanted to do was get a lot of subscribers and start doing pranks. So I realized there's a big market for this. So I started doing embarrassing phone calls. I started giving out joints to people, fake tickets. But then I started doing these pickup line videos, and the channel just blew up, hundreds of thousands of views each video. And I originally thought of them as just funny, corny video. And then over time, a lot of people would go to those videos and actually find them useful. So the issue was in the videos, these pickup line videos, I'm trying to be cringy and funny and awkward because they're supposed to be humorous.
For the bit.
For the bit. But what happened was a lot of people would actually take them seriously and think
that's how he fixed it.
He's really helped me. Yeah. So I was like, because the real way to actually talk to girls is not corny pickup lines or acting super douchey.
Of course.
In videos.
Yeah.
So I was kind of stuck in this weird spot where I'm well, a lot of people like watching these videos, and even though I don't like making them, if I just spend 2 years doing them, I can blow up my subscriber count and possibly it'll be easier for me to do realer content.
Leverage from that point.
Leverage, right? And the videos are all real, but more so I want to do pranks, movies. I just didn't want to do these pickup lines videos, but I saw that they worked well for Big Doss, Steven Shapiro, Daily Dropout. That was epic. So I just kind of recreated what they were doing. And then what happened was I kind of got burnt out of doing them, and I started doing drunk interviews again. And then at one point I had this funny idea of taking a virgin to the club.
Yes.
And it just came up with it. And then I decided, you know what, fuck it, let's do that. So I spent $2,000 getting a limo, bottles, suits, me and all my buddies dressed up.
That's so awesome, man.
Yeah, bro. It was the dumbest idea. It's American Pie. And then
but what I will say before you move on with your story is that I have a lot of friends who obviously know who you are through your content, and then also through me talking about you and whatnot. And a lot of them aren't constant viewers of your stuff, and they watch the whole Take Virgin to the Bar. They watch the whole thing. So that's got to say something, that the fact that was cutting edge of sort, right?
Bro, see, that's my real passion, is making movies like that. The problem is making money at the same time.
Yes.
That video got 13 copyright claims.
Really?
No AdSense.
What was it? What were most of them for?
Oh, dude, I used all these sick ass songs.
Oh, okay. So it was the music.
I had Arctic Monkeys, AC/DC, But So that's what I want to eventually do, just do like movies. But the problem is my YouTube CPM is really bad. But with this virgin movie, so I put out, I wanted to find a virgin. So I put out this 1 minute video like, hey guys, we're looking for a virgin. And I got like hundreds of entries, like so many people. And a lot of these people were like overseas, international, like Americans, but I had to pick somebody local.
Of course.
And after the video came out, I like every single virgin on YouTube all of a sudden started subscribing to me. So like every single video was like, when's Virgin Squad 2? Can you take me to the club? Or like,
That's
how do I
awesome.
talk to girls? And I realized like, wow, like there's this huge market for guys that don't know how to approach and talk to girls, which
Mm.
if you're a confident, charismatic person, it's pretty straightforward, right? And so what I did was I developed a course based on this demand from the Virgin Squad video. And then I kept doing the pickup line videos to keep that momentum. And I would do pranks too. Like I had all these original pranks I did, but they just wouldn't get anywhere near the views. They would just
Mm.
get like maybe 30% as many views, which kind of sucked because like I don't want to be known as like the pickup
Pick up.
guy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I think that there's like a stigma with pickup and game. I think it's like deceptive in some ways, but what this is just social skills, right? But it's one of those things with the internet. They take things out of context, and I think a lot of people like they don't know the proper like the key to demo social is just really just like approaching and talking.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all.
for sure. Okay, so while you were creating your content, through doing that, you saw the opportunity and the demand for this course. So you're like, okay, I'm going to fill that with the skills that I clearly have. Is that essentially the thought process there?
Yeah, basically, man. Virgin Squad opened this huge demand,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, you know what? I mean, I may as well because at the time I considered Patreon to be like desperate. I considered selling merch to be like selling out, and my YouTube CPM was like
Yeah.
$1.
Oh,
So I was making like,
Jesus, is that low?
bro, I was making for 5 million views a month. I was making like $1,500. Yeah, it's
Are
crazy.
you, bro? My whole channel has like under 5 million total views, and like my CPM luckily is very high, but like,
Yeah,
oh my God, I couldn't imagine that, dude. That's insane. And I knew that you were had to deal with some of that crap, but I didn't realize it was that low. That's insane.
dude, I have the lowest CPM on YouTube by far. And it's weird because like I would censor the videos. I
Yeah,
would like remove swear words, and like which kind of sucked because like a lot of these
it's
pranks,
part
like
of your
swearing is
content. Yeah,
the
yeah.
funniest part. But like they would still get even when I would do like a whole month of like A grade, clean content, lots of views, the CPM still wouldn't change. And I think it's because my old interviews just went so hard
Yeah,
that
they
they
did, dude. They did.
nuked my channel, bro.
Jeez, yeah, that's probably a thing to be real. Like that's insane. And I want
Yeah.
to talk. I want to talk more about what how YouTube is essentially screwing you in a bit. But I want to get back to the core. So you put this all together. Like, how did you go about creating like the curriculum? Like, how did you decide what was necessary to be included versus what wasn't, and then launching it out to your audience? Like, I think you did that all organically, right? Simply through your videos.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I did was it was weird because I never got a course myself. I
Okay.
never like looked into pickup or game or anything like that. I kind
Yeah.
of just was always good at talking to people. But what I did was I kind of researched once I discovered like the whole community, like there's a whole community, and I tried reading about it, and I found that a lot of these people that sell courses like this, they're they don't actually go out and talk to girls.
Yeah.
They read a lot
Just say you should
and
do this.
or yeah, they say do this, but there's no like they're not showing receipts.
Yeah.
And I also
Yeah.
noticed that a lot of them are for older guys, like old people.
Really.
And my target audience is young people
Yeah.
because like we talked about on the last podcast when like, first day of school, first week of school, first day on the job, you can become a really a valued person socially if you go up and talk to everybody,
Hmm.
shake their hands if you're in a bunch of different groups. And then when you have different groups and you put them together, all of a sudden, whenever a friend meets another friend, they think of you because you set
Yeah.
them up.
So
And these are
powerful.
all like straightforward things, but nobody's teaching this younger market how to do them. We're kind of just expected to learn it because we get everything for free. Like everybody downloads shit for free.
Yeah.
So when I put it together, I just kind of imagined myself as like, well, at the time I was like 24 when I put it together, but I just imagined like what would be useful to me if I was like 18 or
Mm.
19. You know, I'm out of high school and I have some friend groups, but not many. Just mostly like I call them legacy friends,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
high school friends.
Yeah.
Um, I'm in school, I work part time, and I'm trying to pursue like my purpose on the side. Because when you're young, you have all this energy, you know, there's always friends that are down to go out to a club, a bar, or like if you want to join a class or a skill, try that. So basically, I took advantage of all these different things that young people do, and I formatted them in a way that they can build your confidence, your people skills, and put you in environments where you can make friends. And if you make friends, you can make girls. And if at the very least you can now like go and talk to people and go out with people,
Yeah.
if you're used to approaching a stranger, like a dude or like a class, then it can feel like the same when you talk to a girl.
To a
Because a
girl.
lot of people, they see a girl, they get nervous and they fuck up, and you know,
Yeah, no,
that's the demand.
100%. That's
Yeah,
awesome. So I love that how you actually captured the mind of like who's actually ultimately going to be using it. And I think that's a great idea for creating any sort of product. So that's dope. Thank you for sharing that. So now getting over to the YouTube business. So you said that you started to get screwed very early on in your channel from like
hmm
getting flagged. And so was it, I guess I don't even know. I guess it was probably all of the above. I was going to ask if it was more for like the language, like the actual like obscene gestures, or like what was it that specifically got you flagged? Because they tell you when it gets flagged, right?
yeah, it was everything, man. So like at first, they used to just have like the yellow check mark that tells you
Yeah, yeah.
the video's not
Not
getting
suitable
out.
for everybody or whatever.
So that was literally every video I did for the first year and a half, every video, because you have swear words, sexuality, vulgarity. Sometimes people in the videos would make questionable comments. Like, I went to Pride and did crazy interviews at Pride, and the questions were like, you know, what's the biggest dick you've ever sucked? And gay people are very aggressive with what they say.
Yes.
So you had like you'd have gay people like calling each other derogatory words like fag casually, just casually,
Playfully. Yeah, yeah.
playfully, but like between two gay guys. But just words like that, and like you know the word cunt. I said the word cunt a lot. Um, it just every video was like that. And then
Okay.
when I started doing pranks, YouTube basically how YouTube works is once they have a good idea of like the videos that you put up, they can recommend them to who would watch them,
For sure.
and they have well, not a bias, but an incentive to recommend videos 10 minutes or longer with high watch time that are consistently uploaded on the same time of the week. And so that have ads, because if they have ads, that means YouTube
Makes more
gets
money
more
too.
revenue.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my videos had no ads because they were demonetized. They were
Hmm.
usually under 10 minutes, and they were marked as a lot of them were age restricted. So you had to actually log into YouTube and be 19 to
To
watch them.
watch.
Yeah, so it just ruined my algorithm, right? And that's when I was like, I have to change this. I have to like do something else. So that's when I started doing the pranks and pickup line videos.
And that changed the whole trajectory of the channel.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still like I did a video when I gave out joints. That one got age restricted right away. This one prank I did, I banged a giant stuffed animal in the
Yep, I
forest.
remember that one.
Yeah, that one went viral within 2 days. It was like 300,000 views, but then they
Wow.
age restricted it right away. So they just it was weird because every type of video that I like to make, they would like nuke it, and then I would do like embarrassing phone calls or like pickup lines, and it would
Yeah.
get like 500,000 views.
You'd feed the algorithm and then it would just go.
Yeah, man, and like I know that I'm not reinventing the wheel, but like people just love them, man. It's
And
weird.
it's so funny because like as a creator, obviously I'm creating different kinds of content, but I can totally relate to what you're saying. Is that once these algorithms like put you in a lane, if you try to veer off of that, like they penalize you for it, which is so strange, but it's true. And like your viewers, like they'll be like, oh, like make something different. It's like I do, and you guys don't watch. So
Yeah,
it's like what you can't have
you
both
guys
ways.
don't even hit the like button,
I
man. Like,
know. God
fuck.
damn. The amount of times like I try to explain that to people, they just don't get it. So while you're dealing with all this, like you were going hard in the paint, like you were making content all the time. You're turning this into your full-time job and what you do. But when you're getting hit with that kind of like brutal CPMs, how are you getting creative in terms of supporting your ability to live comfortably financially?
It's tricky, man. So the first year, so I've only been doing YouTube on this channel 2.5 years now.
Yep.
And the first year, I was just out of school, and or no, I was finishing school, so I was in my final year of school. And then over the summer, when I was at about 7K subs, and I started to go to pranks, I also started a business with a old buddy of mine, high school friend, and we did property management for student houses. So we did that, and I was making like a couple grand a month doing that, which allowed me to film. When I started doing pranks about a year ago, the very first like 50 pranks I did, I had 5 different cameramen for pranks. And it was literally like my one friend, he worked at a car dealership. He had Thursdays and Fridays off.
So
So
he
he
was
would
your
film for
Thursday,
me
Friday guy.
Thursdays and Fridays. My other buddy, he was still in school. He had, after 12, he was done class Mondays. Wednesdays, he had off completely. So I would have him either Monday or Wednesday. And then I had another friend that was just unemployed. He would just film for me whenever those guys weren't around. And basically through that, so like I got all these friends over, and I'm like, guys, this is the videos I want to make. I just spent like a bunch of money on this camera setup, and I trained them in my backyard. Like I'd have one friend stand there, and I would like go up and talk to them, and I'd be like, okay, balance it. So like we're both balanced in the picture. And then I was like, all right, I'll pay you guys. What do you want? And only one guy
Wanted money.
accepted pay. Only one guy. Everybody else was like, no. And so we started filming. And dude, my early pranks were shit, like so bad, but like millions of views for whatever reason. And so they weren't that good. But after like a month or two, it got tricky because I realized winter was coming. And as soon as winter comes in Canada, like everybody's inside.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking to anybody. We have cuffing season in Canada. So like girls really stick to themselves, and people start to ease in to like their friend groups, and they become kind of antisocial. Now you could still film pranks, but I basically realized that like as winter comes in Canada, it's much harder. So I would do the interviews, and I was still doing this business full time at the time. So it was really hard on me. I was like a property manager for student houses in Hamilton, and I had like 60 or 70 tenants,
Wow.
and most of them were ESL, so they didn't speak English very well. And I just had a hard time because the cultures are so different. Like little things like, putting the garbage out and sorting the recycling bins. So we had like 6 or 7 houses, and every like Monday night we'd put a different kid in charge of putting the bins out. But they wouldn't, because in India the recycling and garbage is different. And a lot of the kids that come here for school are wealthy, and they have maids back in India. So
Who
they're
would do
not
that
used
for
to,
him?
yeah, they're not used to doing garbage or recycling. So like there'd be fucking banana peels in the blue bin, and then these would all be overflowing, right? Garbage truck would come Tuesday morning, not take anything. And then animals would get in overnight. So there'd just be a mess everywhere. And me and this friend of mine were like splitting duties on it while I'm trying to fly 2 hours over to Guelph to
To
film
film.
film a prank. So that was like the first year. And then yeah, like I had a little bit of money coming in from that, but I closed the business this past September, about 9 months ago, because I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go full time. I got like 300,000 subs or something like that. The money's gonna start coming in. I'm gonna put PG content. Never came in, Ben. The CPM didn't go up, but this time I hired a guy to film for me for 2 months, and in September and October we filmed 60 pranks,
Wow.
and I'm still releasing them. But the problem is, a lot of them I don't even like them. I think that like they don't really represent
You.
what I'm into now or me. But like I was filming 4 or 5 of them a day, so now like I'm dropping these videos, and I'm like, oh, I don't even want to release this,
Mm.
But I kind of have to because that's what people want. So, anyways, then I did the Virgin Squad, And since the CPM wasn't going, I'm like, you know what? I can help these guys with like an info product. So I made like a really dope one. And I never did traffic to it, like targeted ads. I
That's
just did,
impressive because like
yeah.
the majority of online course creators, the vast majority of their sales are coming through paid traffic. So that speaks to you the level of connection you have with your audience, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good. Like it was really good organic traffic. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want that to be me. Like I don't want because when I started YouTube, I didn't want to do like these videos. I kind of just fell into them, and then once the money's coming in, you kind of get trapped there. You're like,
Yeah,
fuck, like I'm making all this money, and if I did do target ads, I'd
you
wait
can make way
make
more.
way more. But then I'd be that guy, and what I really want to do is like make movies, do acting. So right now, I'm in a tough place because like I can't film anything new because COVID, but also the audience doesn't want it, and I don't want to be this pickup guy, but that's where like all the money is.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I kind of want to do like acting and screenwriting, but living in Canada, the market for that is very low, non-existent. So
Especially where we live in Ontario, because there's very few things shot here.
yeah, yeah, man, and there's not many people that do what I do. It's there's this famous saying. It's like it's lonely at the top. And I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
like, oh, but like nobody in Canada does like pranks or pickup lines, drunk interviews. It's just not a thing here.
No,
And
they're almost all from the States.
yeah, everybody's in the States. And even people like my age, like 25 now, like most people have jobs, man. They have, so it's tricky. I
No,
have
I
a good group of friends around me, but
no, I feel that for sure, man. One thing I love that you shared at the very beginning was that you just kind of figured it out. So you had a plan in place and you did whatever it took to make that happen. So a lot of people, they fall victim to their circumstance and they say, "Oh, like I can't do this stuff on the side because my job is like this." So instead of you falling into that, you're like, "I'm going to make my own job that supports my ability to do the other stuff," which I loved. And the other thing that you mentioned was the fact that your friends were willing to give their free time and only one of them accepted money. So obviously that speaks to, again, the level of relationship that you had. So my question off of that is like, how do you think you got to the point where like they were so willing to give you their time? And
Mhm.
two, like, how did you, because a lot of people struggle with asking for help. So how did you have like the conviction in what you were doing to go out and say, can you help me?
That's a good question. That's literally one of the biggest reasons for my success was convincing people to help me for free.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Um,
important, man.
yeah, I've just always been really good at talking to people, addressing them in groups, like presentations in school. I was always sick, and like people always wanted to work with me. Once I entered like post secondary, high school, middle school, I was like this weird, awkward, cringy fucking loner guy. But um, once I kind of just figured my shit out, I provide a lot of value to people, and I would use a lot of the stuff that I teach in Denmo Social, which is like get a good group of like prospect friends. So like friends that have stuff in common with you, that are funny, they're outgoing, and they bring value to you as well, and then bring value to them. So like men and women, I think we might have talked about this last podcast.
I
We
think a
make
little
friends
bit.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, women, they make friends based on like emotion. Men make friends based on like what can you do for me? You know,
Yeah.
will you make my group stronger or weaker? Are we more vulnerable with you? You know, so I would make friends like that.
That's so true, actually, man.
Yeah,
Because like when you think about it, when a guy is like introduces a new guy to the group, the first thing that they say is like what the guy adds. So it's
mm.
like literally, if it's a funny guy, they're like, "Oh, he's hilarious," or if like,
Yeah, yeah.
or
You
if
got to
he's
sell it.
jacked, they're like, "Oh, he's jacked." You know what I mean? It's so funny that
Yeah,
you say
yeah.
that. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead with your story.
No, it's so true. I even do that. You have to
Yeah.
like sell the idea, and then you'll notice too, like you ever like run into somebody and you're like you're with a buddy and you run into somebody and then that friend just awkwardly stands there and kind of just like twiddles their thumbs,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Right away, you just got to be like introduce them. So then, even though they're not directly in the conversation, it's like the mutual respect for each other
Hmm.
exists. So like little stuff like that, you get really good at that. And then when you get different friends and then you link them up together, and all of a sudden now like you just created a new friendship. It gives you a lot of leverage because they go to you as like, this guy brings me not only value from himself, but he has other good friends that vouch for him. And through doing that, basically, I have like this huge group now of like entrepreneurial guys. But what ended up happening though from those guys I had film stuff for me, they ended up calling in a lot of favors for me. So
Oh, okay, they got your back.
my one buddy that had the job at a car dealership, I took all my camera equipment. I went out to Oakville and I filmed like several videos for him, like talking about the cars, like these Audi cars he was selling. And my other buddy, I helped him with some comedy writing. And my one friend, Will, who was like one of the first guys to film a lot with me, I wrote him a whole game plan, business plan for how to start a channel, grow it, and also get people to work for you for free,
That's
which was the
amazing.
biggest thing. So yeah, I mean, as long as you provide value to people, then that's what makes them come to
Willing to
you.
do it back.
But also, like, you have to be kind of a sniper for talent. Like, if I see what I think are talented or like, masculine guys that would be very useful, especially when united with other guys like that, then I scout them. I go like, yeah, man, join my group.
Yeah,
And
yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think that's great because you're always thinking about like life somewhat strategically, which I think is a lot of people just kind of go through the motions and like they're in a current and they just get pushed and they're content with that. But you do have the ability to shape how your how your life looks.
yeah,
So
for sure.
one question that after hearing this, like there's a repeating theme coming on here, whereas like you're very skilled at dealing with relationships and with people. So you didn't go to school for psychology or anything like that. So how did you develop and nurture these skills that you clearly now have?
Mm. I guess, I've thought about it before. I think I've answered this before to other people, but the answer kind of changes over time. Because when I was like younger, I was a real loner, man.
Mm.
I loved drawing, making art, being by myself. And high school, same thing. I was kind of a loner. Um, wasn't the best time. I think what I always wanted was just to be like accepted and liked by people. And I think that's what like the deep root was. And once I got older and I started to realize that like, like in high school, you think like it's everything, right? You think
Yes.
popularity, you think it's everything. And as you get older, you realize like it's not like that. You can actually do what you want. College, university, people are just chill. You have freedom. And once I had all that, I was kind of like relieved a bit. And it gave me this incentive to just take chances and take risks. And I've had some huge failures and lots of things I regret. And, but the fact I've taken those chances and risks and kind of learned from them and learned from the experience, put myself in comfortable situations. And eventually, like, you learn what works by doing it and what doesn't work. And another thing that happened to me, I was in a bad car accident
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, really smashed my face in, hit my head hard. And when life kind of like flashes before your eyes, you just kind of reset. You just go, wow, like why would I be afraid to go and talk to this person if,
I could die tomorrow.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I
So
think
that was,
that was a big like mind shift for me too, was when a close friend of mine passed away. And that was like the eye opening moment where it's like, why does this assignment doesn't matter? Like none of this crap matters. There's no fear here because literally it could all be gone tomorrow, and it's all constructed fear that you allow to manifest itself into something that's real. So
mhm.
I love that a lot. And then so now you mentioned it before about how like we're obviously all stuck inside and whatnot. How has COVID impacted like your business beyond the point where you already alluded to the fact that you can't film pranks when there's no people outside, but
Mhm.
beyond that, how has it impacted your business?
Uh, it's tricky. So like my business, as far as like sales for that course, they've been pretty consistent
Yeah.
because yeah, surprisingly, I've only plugged the course like 4 or 5 times, but those videos have a consistent amount of views each week. So
Yeah.
the business has gone pretty consistent, really. My AdSense is at an all-time low. Like my last, because I did all these Zoom videos, man.
Yes, I remember those.
They were really good, and what I liked about them was that like a couple people had done Zoom pranks. They were only getting like 1,000 views, And I thought like, man, I can really blow up with these. So I did like 5 of them, and I did all these different stunts, like getting a blowjob, taking a shit on a toilet, getting choked and suffocated with like by somebody behind me. And the videos, man, they were getting hundreds of thousands of views. So I was like, for the first month of quarantine, I was like, man, finally, I don't have to do pickup line videos. I can do
Like
these
a break.
really,
Yeah.
I can do these funny, savage, like new, filmed like today, funny Franks. And then YouTube just nuked all of them. They started getting these privacy complaints. And usually how it works is if you put somebody in your video, legally you're allowed to leave them in because it's public property. But Zoom got in all this heat because people were thinking that they were hacking the classes, when in reality it was kids were just leaking the codes. So there was a lot of misinformation, and due to people being out of the office at YouTube, they couldn't manually review the videos.
Mm.
Long story short, normally when I reply to a video, they go, no problem, video could stay up, you're good. And I will blur somebody if they want to be blurred or remove them, but I don't have to. And
You don't have to blur them?
no, it depends, right? So if it's public property, then you don't.
Okay.
And if it's a drunk interview, if they speak into the microphone,
That's
you
giving
don't.
consent.
Yeah, it's implied consent when you speak into a mic. And
Okay.
YouTube's usually pretty good with that. But so I'd get these claims on these Zoom videos, and I was getting them from like schools and teachers.
Mm.
So even though like legally I was in the good, they put a lot of pressure on YouTube.
They strong
And
arm it.
when I took the parts out and blurred them and I replied to YouTube, YouTube's notoriously bad for like not actually having a, like every email they send you is an automated response. They don't actually have somebody you can call. They don't really listen to what you say. They just kind of like make an automated decision, especially now because of the COVID thing. So they just removed everything without looking that I actually fixed the videos. And so what I would do, Ben, is I would take the part out, re-upload the video, explaining what happened. Like, guys, I took the part out, but it's back because 90% of the video was good. And then they would remove that too. And then one day in April, they removed 4 videos in one day. And then the next day, my laptop charger broke. And in order to get a replacement, I had to wait 3 or 4 weeks in the mail. Sorry about the cough, boys. So I had all my videos removed that I just spent all this time making. And I couldn't edit videos for a month because my laptop charger was gone. So, dude, I was in like a dark place for like 3 or 4 weeks because I couldn't create because anything I created would get pulled down. And I physically couldn't even like edit old videos or anything. So I was fucked for like all April, basically.
Jesus, man. So how
May
do you
too, actually. May too.
that? Yeah, and I can only imagine because like only people who really work from their computer understand like how important having the computer is. Because like, I make
Yeah.
all of my money through my computer. So without a charger, you're literally cut off from being able to do what you do with like 95% of your waking hours. So that's detrimental. So you were dealing with a lot of crap. How do you deal with that psychologically, knowing that you're doing things the right way that you think you are, right, and still getting hit with shit? Like, how did you deal with that psychologically to like remain positive? Because it's very easy to feel victim, to feel like a victim there. So how did you deal with it?
It's tough, bro. I still am kind of dealing with it because, like, you know, when you put a lot of effort into creating stuff just for it to like
Fizzle.
get removed, but like, I got corona, guys. But when you do something and like it should stay up, it's fine, especially when other people's stays up. Like a lot of bigger channels did the same videos I did, and they got like massive credit and followers for it, and theirs would stay up. So I'd be like, mine went down, and I took it personally. I was like, cheesed, right? And on top of that, you got no ads coming in from CPM, and the only thing that makes me money is this course I'm selling for these pickup line videos, but I don't even like posting them or doing them. So I was really stuck, man. I was really stuck, and can't film anything new. And you got the natural cabin fever of being stuck in the house all day, no laptop. So I tried. I started screenwriting because that's something I've always been passionate about, was like writing, making movies. And when I was a kid, I'd make these animations. So I started writing like characters, stories, and basically I have a extra computer. It doesn't have any of my footage on it, so I couldn't edit with it, but I used it to just type in Microsoft Word, and that gave me something to do while I waited for things to go back to normal on my YouTube
Okay.
channel.
Okay, so I like that. So you reverted back to a passion and things that you could control to try to alleviate the stress and burden from all the things that are beyond your control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I had to find a way to do something, man. Because like when you work for yourself, it's really easy to just wing it all day. So
100%. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's something that like up until like relatively recently, I still had some sort of structure because I had a full-time job and whatnot.
Yeah. Where were you
So
working? What were you doing?
I was working in sales, in media sales, just simply to before going full time on my own stuff, I wanted to have like a good financial backing.
Mhm.
And so then I reached that point, and like I don't think they'll listen to this, but I was gonna quit anyways. And then the Corona shit happened anyway, so it just kind of like graciously pushed me out the door, which worked out pretty well. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I can definitely feel that because when you are working for yourself, like there is nobody saying like, Jack, you got to get this done. You know what I mean? Or Jack, you got to do it like this. Because if you were in a job and you were hit with this circumstance, your
Mhm.
superior would say like, okay, well, this is where you're going to put your time. But Jack works for himself, so it's like you can do whatever the hell you want. Like you could wallow in self pity, like you could do whatever the hell you want. So
Yeah,
I
man.
think we touched on this, I think, in the last episode. But like how, because clearly, if you saw that there was a problem and you're like, I have to deal with this, where did that mental fortitude come from? Like, how did you build that mindset where you were looking to fix problems internally?
Mm. It's always different, man. Like I've had some big issues I've had to come over, and I think basically my body has experienced all these failures, but like I've continued to overcome them, so it knows that it can do it.
Mm,
But sometimes like you're at the bottom a little longer than other times. Like when I did crash my car, I was concussed, like my face was all swollen and fucked up, and like I had no money. I had like all my money went to that car, and I was also in school for something I didn't like, and it was winter time, and I live 25, 30 minutes away from all my friends, so I was like really isolated, and I was at like rock bottom. And before I did the Life Jack Denmo channel, I had a compilation business I did, and that actually made me a lot of money. That's what some of my savings came from. And I remember I was super excited to like tell my family I had this business at Christmas. And then 2 days before Christmas, my channel got 11 copyright strikes, and it got terminated. How it worked back in the day was you have 7 days to like prove that the strikes are overturn
illegitimate.
them, but they were legit strikes. Like I couldn't really get around it, so that business closed. And so then I had no business, nothing to show for. So I was like really excited to prove my family I was making money. Um, and then I started another channel doing compilations, but YouTube changed its monetization process, so it was looking like taking like 6 or 7 months for me to be
Start
able
making
to.
money.
Yeah, so that wasn't working. Like having a friend die, having a relationship end, all those. What I've learned really is like um, when you're in a really dark place, it's easy to like just kind of lay around and suck all day, really just be upset. And sometimes it like takes time, like longer time than it does other times, but you kind of have to like just deal with it because in the past I've had issues and like within a couple days I'm back, I'm working hard, I'm on the purpose again. And then other times, like as much as it makes sense that everything's going to work out, your brain will just play tricks on you. It'll just go like, no, this is it. You're a total failure. You're never going to overcome this. People will judge you. People will hate you. And you almost have to like accept that you're going to feel that way for like a couple weeks, get it out of your system, and then kind of slowly move back. There's this saying, and it's like if somebody dies or there's a relationship, a lot of people they'll try to like ignore it and keep going on. They'll never actually like absorb the pain that uh, it is to them. And what'll happen is it'll come later or it'll chip away at them slowly. What you should do is just kind of like soak in that pain for like a week or two, kind of like get it out of your system. Because like, you know how you'll get bored of doing something after a couple of weeks? I think you'll get, the way I like to see it is like you'll get bored of being depressed
Yeah, yeah.
after a couple of weeks. You'll be like, well, fuck, like my body is, you can't get any more depressed or anxiety. And then everything becomes better. So it takes time, like, especially when you're a public figure. I think that the stresses and anxieties that people get now because of social media are super underrated because everybody's trying to compete, you know, this look, perfect angle photos. I'm doing so good, like I'm getting bottles, you know, and
Yeah.
it's this comparison game, right? Especially amongst young people, and especially for a YouTuber, because you see people that are doing videos like you, and they're making $20,000 a month ad revenue. They're they have more followers. They'll do a video the same as yours, and it might even be worse, and they'll get way more
Mm.
love, way more attention. You got people that are young, up and coming on like TikTok or whatever, and all they do is like shake in front of the camera, and they have like 1 million followers. And particularly people in the States, man, because in the US, it's just so much better for content creation. I believe collaborations. So you see all this, right? And you're stuck in the cabin right now, and you're not making any money, and you're getting old, and you're getting isolated, and it's really hard on you, man. So sometimes I think that I'd be a lot happier if I just did what I did before, which was like run a small business. Nobody knows who I am, and I have a good girl, good group of friends around me, and I have hobbies. But that's the cost of entrepreneurship and the pursuit of being a successful entertainer, is that it's like really stressful and hard while you build your way to the top. And that's why most people can't do it, because it's just hard on you, man. It's really hard on you.
So after hearing all that, like, do you like if you could snap your fingers and swap back to your life before, would you do that?
Mm, yeah, sometimes I want to. It's weird because at the end of the day, like happiness, satisfaction, purpose, fulfillment, they usually come from the people around you and bringing value to people and doing something you're interested in. And what I'm interested in is like, you know, I like being funny. I like entertaining people. But the interviews, the pranks, the pickup line videos, those are all just things I'm good at. They're not my true passion. So I'll go through waves of like grinding, filming constantly, editing, and I'll be super pumped up, fired up. But I think times like this, like Corona, is when you have so much time, you start to overthink and overcomplicate. But also really look at yourself and go, is this actually what I want to be doing? You know, is this really what I should be doing? Is this really where I want to be in life? And it's useful. It kind of does point out the things that you don't like. Like I'm starting to feel like I'm kind of past the whole binge drinking phase, right? But that's a lot of my image. So it's tricky, right? But what I have to remember is that I can either spend 10 years doing theater, you know, or doing like acting gigs locally and then maybe get an audition, or get 3 million subscribers, get an agent who can just throw me an audition that I probably would be able to do, but would have to work 4 or 5 years the normal way to get to it. So that's what keeps me going, is that this pain and suffering will be worth getting to where I want to be in like a couple of years.
Okay. And that segues perfectly into the next topic that I wanted to cover was more of like this master plan that you've had, because along the way, like from an outsider's perspective, you've had tons of success, but for you, even because I've known you for a little over a year now, like every thing that you've done has been in pursuit of this eventual like end destination, which you alluded to a few seconds ago. So can you speak a little bit to that, like what that master plan looks like and how Jack is going to get himself there?
Yeah. So the master plan would be making movies, and I'd like to star in the movies. Obviously, like I'd like to be an actor. It just would depend really on the role, but like I think that actors have the best scenario because actors, you get this big movie, you got the director, all that stuff is done. You have a great writer, great script. Your job is to read the script, become that character, show up, they film you, they do all the cuts, the edits, you go home, do whatever you want for a couple months, and now you just get this great end finished product like this movie, and you're in it. And that way, I think you can avoid like all the stressful parts of the job, but also you don't actually like you show up and then you go home. I think that you could separate work from your personal life. You could separate work from the house. Same with writing, you know, because your imagination, you can create stuff and then see it on screen. And what it is for me is I know what it's like to listen to a big song or watch a movie and then have that feeling like, wow, that was really good. And I think that what I want to do is share that with others. And the ultimate form of that would be on the cinematic screen on a movie or TV show or through music, which I also am into. But my plan is to get enough money that I can leverage my way to live in the United States where I have to. Because if it was just me, man, I'd live out in the country, out in Canada, probably like West Coast, beautiful big trees and mountains. But I have like, I have to go to like LA. I have to meet with these movie people. And the plan would be, though, to make enough money from YouTube and then hopefully find a way that I can automate my content as I get older. So like pranks, they take a lot out of you. Same with drunk interviews. So I feel like in 2 or 3 years, I'm going to switch my content and do something much more easy. So like commentary channels, you know, like those YouTubers, they're just like, oh, TikTokers need to stop. You know, all they do is they just sit in front of a screen. Here's the video, 1 million views. So
that does really well.
amazingly well. So like, I'll probably eventually do that, like easy content, I like to call it. But realistically, like, yeah, I just want to do acting, and I have all these TV shows that I like. And when you're writing and coming up with something, it's kind of like when you're filming a prank, you just get lost in the zone, and it's a really powerful feeling. It's like when you play a sport, you're not thinking about anything else but the present. And I feel that way with like creating TVs, movies, and sometimes YouTube videos. So that's what I want to do.
Okay. So I think, yeah, I think anybody who's had something they're passionate about and just go about doing it can relate to like getting into like a flow state. But after hearing all that, I have a question of like, so what happens if you get to that point and like you put all this time and effort into it and you feel like you do right now? Like how would Jack deal with that? And I don't mean to be like doomy and gloomy, but like say you get to that point and you've put all this time and effort into it and it feels like the same. How would you deal with that from there?
That's a good question because I mean, when I was like up and coming, all I just wanted to do was like, okay, I want to get 10,000 subscribers.
Yes.
And it was 100,000. Then it was 500,000. And it's like each time you get there and you're like, oh, like this isn't even that big a deal. So I think the same thing would be a possibility with like making a movie or TV series. I think the difference is if I did, let's say I did make it to like Hollywood and I found out, you know, because of liberals and SJWs, my ideas wouldn't fly. They'd be like, no, we need a woman in this role, and stuff like that. If that was the case, I could always come back to YouTube and I would do probably like a podcast or something like that. Because I like doing podcasts. They're fun. It's nice talking to people. And I would probably find ways to what I wanted to do too is have a media company because I when I was young and I didn't start doing YouTube till I was like 23, but if I was like 18 and I had advice or people that could help me do it, like, you know, a mentor, so to speak, then it would have been a lot easier for me. And so I feel like I'd do that for people. I'd have ways that I could mentor other up and coming YouTubers that do stuff that I do. And I'd probably have a normal life, man. I'd probably go out, live in the woods, you know, just go hiking. And I'd hopefully have enough money that I could just invest, you know, do some voice acting.
Yeah.
That would be my escape, really.
Okay. I like that a lot. And I think like I can relate to that thing that you said in the beginning there to a lesser degree of once you you get so fixated on this end destination, which for like me at the time when I started my channel, I was like, oh, if I got 1,000 subscribers, my life would be like insane. So I was like, oh, like every subscriber was such a big deal. And then you pass that number, and then it's like, okay, now you're getting like 1,000 in a week, and it's like, okay, like that's you can kind of go numb to it. So I think one thing that I've done is try to like maintain that childlike optimism for every single one, and to try to get back in the mind frame that I was in maybe even like a year ago, where and capture how excited I was from that one person clicking subscribe. So I think if you break it down, this is for me anyways, it's like the foundation, like what that means, what that number actually means. It's someone giving you their time. That's how I've maintained like a level of optimism with it, because it's like each one is a physical human being. That's how I've done it. Obviously, you've reached
That's true.
far
Yeah,
larger milestones than I
yeah.
have, but like that's how I've dealt with it on the lesser scale that I have had. Because it is true, like you do become, I don't want to say spoiled by like growth, but you get to a point where you do kind of go numb, right? You're like, people are like, oh, your channel's growing like crazy, and you're like, yeah, that's what it does, right? So that it's difficult to manage both.
Well, there's no path, right? Like when I worked a bunch of different jobs before this. Like when I was a forest firefighter, you start as a forest firefighter, then you become a crew boss, then you become a crew leader.
Mm-hmm.
And then after crew leader, you become one of the guys that represents the entire base. And then you got like helicopter pilots, you got all these different positions. When I was a driller, same thing, assistant driller, and then you got driller, and then you have foreman. There's a process. There's like check marks, objectives. Same with like if you're on a sports team,
Mm-hmm.
quarterfinals, semifinals, championship. And then on YouTube, we don't have that. We just have numbers. We just have followers.
Totally
That's
arbitrary.
all there is. But like you don't actually get anything when you get those numbers. It's what I try to tell a lot of people on social media, on Instagram in particular, because that shit's really cancerous, I think. But like all these girls, they're trying so hard to like, become models. All these dudes are trying really hard to become like these fitness guys. And it's like the people that are on top and big, they don't tell you that like when you have that many followers, nothing changes in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the lack of structure is what I don't like, because I feel like with acting and writing, if let's say you write a really good script for a movie, now you have this other idea that's like it's bigger budget, maybe it's a bit more controversial, it's more it's less likely for a studio to pick it up. The studio has confidence in the success of this movie, so they give you a chance to show your vision, and then that's well received. And now like you can kind of be able to do things that you wouldn't have a chance to do otherwise. So like Tarantino, for example, he used to write scripts, worked at a movie store, and then Reservoir Dogs did really good, so he got more funding. He got big actors in Pulp Fiction who took a pay cut to make that movie, and that took off. And then every movie since then, he's had full creative control. So like he's had the final cut, which means like he gets veto on the final edit, what stays in. There's lots of like gore, violence, controversial stuff, and he just is allowed to put it all out there, and people like it. And I like that structure better because TV shows, movies, and another thing, you're also around people too. You're not by yourself. Like I have to play this character where I'm just going to places and then leaving, and like I said, it's just me doing it. So I think that what was the question?
I can't even remember now.
Oh yeah. There's no structure with this. There's no structure.
Yes. There we
So
go.
like you don't really level up. The biggest thing that I have been procrastinating doing is merch, but also stuff that I never really wanted to. Well, like merch, but like these brands reach out to me. So like essay writing companies, skincare companies, VPN. They're offering me like $4,000 to $5,000 if I
for
just plug
one
them.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, for one video. And I just never really cared. Like I don't know. I'm making enough that I'm comfortable that like I don't desperately need money, but I don't like the idea of like doing a paid ad in a video. And I also, when I edit videos, I'm sure you know what it's like. There's little tiny things like little zoom ins, little cuts, where to move stuff, like where in the video you say this thing and that. And those are really hard to train people how to do. And because of that, I've really procrastinated hiring an editor because
Yeah, I get that. I get that completely.
yeah, yeah, you really have like this real specific taste, and when it's off even slightly, you don't like it. You hate it, right? So um, because of this, I've been swamped. I'm handling emails, I'm handling the filming, the editing, the thumbnails, the posting, the keywords, and it's all for stuff that isn't really like fresh or fun to me. So I find myself in this really tricky place. What I'm doing, my next steps are I'm hiring an employee, and he's going to run all these edits for me. He's going to post on social media for me. Right now, I schedule all my posts on Instagram. I don't
Mm.
even go on my main Instagram anymore. And talk to brand deals, get good ones, direct content, you know, and just do the things that are killing my energy. So that way I can just be the talent on screen, because that is the most enjoyable part. And it would be in a stress-free place because the tricky things aren't there.
Dealt with.
Yes. So that would be scaling. It'd be like you hiring an employee to generate leads for your social media business. And if you're doing like video edits or stuff like that, Photoshop, graphics,
Mm.
they do that stuff. And then you take the piece off top, or you take the upfront and you pay them hourly.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. No, and that stuff I've had to deal with too. And I think from your perspective, like I think merch is a no-brainer for you simply because of one, how much people make from that, but two, I think like the way you are, I think you could do that in a very creative way. Do you know? Like, I feel like you could do that in a Jack Denmo way that like
Yeah.
wouldn't be selling out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping. It's weird, like, because I don't wear graphic shirts at
Yeah,
all. Like, every shirt I wear is blank. I have two shirts that have graphics on them. This one, it's a union shirt from when I worked for the M&R,
yeah,
and the other one is a free. It's like Lager Shed. It's a beer company.
yeah.
I won it a couple years ago. Besides that, everything I have is
It's
just
blank.
blank,
Yeah,
right?
most of my stuff is too.
Yeah, as you get older, you wear really minimalist shit. Like, I don't have any Supreme. I don't have any fucking Nike, Adidas. I don't have any of that. So that was the thing too. I was like, I mean, people want graphic logos, even if it's like a small logo in the side. Like, I just didn't wear it, so I was never into it. And to be honest, those guys don't get laid either. Like, a lot of these people wearing these big graphic, like they're flexing all the time. You know, you're playing this game of, hey, look what I'm wearing.
Peacock.
Yeah, you're peacocking, right? So I do have ideas for merch, and it's weird. Like, there's a couple different ways to do it. You could just put it up on the website, and when it sells, it sells. But there's a lack of quality control there, and there's also like you could do limited drops. You create a false scarcity. Like you say, oh guys, I'm only releasing
This one
100 of
time.
these. I'm only releasing 100, and they'll never be out again. And like in reality, it's a $10 hoodie. You're selling for $60. Okay, and there's like a little logo on it, and it's made to print. Like, it's not physically printed. There isn't a
Until it's,
physical
yeah, yeah,
limited
until
quality.
it's purchased.
It's until it's purchased, it's not even printed. So like, I could do that, but um, yeah, there's a lot of ways I could spin my merch. To what I want to do before I do merch is I'm gonna start wearing it like my own
Yourself.
personal before I sell it, and then I'll see what people like. And one thing I want to do, I think I'm going to do 2 more years of pranks. But this next year, me and my buddies, we're going to do a road trip of the States. And
Where are you going?
everywhere. So we're going to go. We're going
Because
to start.
I'll be in Florida for a few months. So let's try
Oh
to like
yeah, Florida.
yeah, that's
Yeah, we're going to Florida.
dope.
So September, you got all these big hocos. Majority of my fans are in Ontario, so like each hoco, 40,000 kids. So like, it's perfect to like hang out with everybody, and the videos are like well received. So September, I'm going to be here. October, first 2 weeks, I'm thinking like New York, New Jersey, Vermont, all these really close, Buffalo, really close to Canada. Come back after 2 weeks for Queens Hoco on the 19th, rest a bit, and then November start where I left off, which would be like about halfway down the states, about South Carolina, and then go Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, kind of. So start on the East Coast, and then go along the bottom.
That's awesome, man.
And then
It sounds like we might be at Florida at the same time, dude. Because I just booked a spot in Florida for a month from November 20th till December 18th. So we might be there at the same time.
yeah, that's when I'm going. November,
That's
hopefully.
let's link up, man. That'd be dope.
Yeah, man. Florida's big too, man.
It
It's
is.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much going on, and like there's so many funny things that happen in Florida. Like the Florida man stuff kills me.
Oh, dude, it's great. And that'd be like the plan would be. Um, so what I do normally is I film these videos in bulk and then just release them one off. But what I'm going to do specifically on this trip that's different is, since in the States it's warm all the time, I don't have this content scarcity.
Hmm.
And each week, the video I upload will be from like that week.
Be very present.
It'll be fresh, present, and it'll show like me actually in real life, not just the highlight reel for these pranks.
Yeah.
It'll actually be me, my friends, and the idea would be that I'm getting out of like this bubble that is Ontario.
Yeah.
'Cause
No, I feel that, man.
99% of it, they're all 2 hours away from Hamilton, right? So hit the
Oh,
big cities, big schools like Harvard, Princeton, Austin, Texas, Miami.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. What are you doing in Florida? Do you have family there?
No, man. So I am like I hate the cold with a fiery passion. Like so even when I was like little, I would say that my end goal will be to never experience a winter again in my life. So now that I am like completely location neutral with my business, I'm gonna take full advantage of that. So and I'm just gonna go to different places that I think I might want to live full time. And because my goal is eventually to go to the States as well. Just from like a business perspective, like there's so much more money there simply because there's more people. Right. So there's just, especially for what I do, there's just more consumers. So there's more money to be made. So the first spot is Florida because my favorite football team's there. So I'll be
Yeah.
living there for a month during football season, which was like a childhood dream of mine. So
Okay.
it'll be cool to see. And then also I'm like 2 blocks from the beach too. So I'll definitely be taking advantage of that.
Yeah, that's kind of sick. Do you have friends that do what you do or no?
Yes, I actually do. So, well, not directly what I do, but that work in the space. So, like the guy that I help that helps me with my like all the paid traffic portion of my business. He does full Facebook ads, Google ads. Like that's his bread and butter. So he has a place in Florida, and then my other buddy who's a full time blogger and he recently started YouTube. He also has a place in Florida. So like they have places that we can go there as well. So
That's
after
sick.
after I pay for the one for the month, I'll probably mooch off them for a bit after. But yeah, so it's always good to, like you said, surround yourself with people who have complementary skill sets and then also can relate to your issues, your struggles, and like the positive things about it too, right? Because I'm sure for yourself, like there's not many people who can relate with your problems, you know what I mean, of having 500,000 subscribers plus, dealing with all the crap, you know what I mean? So it is
No,
important to try to get some
no.
of those people.
Even lately, man, like a couple buddies of mine that also do YouTube videos, I spoke to the last couple of days. So like Cassie Campbell, Steven Shapiro, a couple others. They do similar pranks to me, similar niche. And the last like month, all of their videos have been down like 60, 70% views.
Wow.
Yeah, so like Shapiro, he's used to getting, 2 to 500,000 views in a week. Uh, similar to mine. Cassidy, he's got twice as many subs, so he's used to like that every time. And Steven's videos have been at like 60K views to 40K views. My last two, after I took a month off from the Zooms, one's at 35,000, the other's at like 60,000. And usually it would be at like 250 each, easy. So like what one of them thinks it is that YouTube changed the algorithm in regards to like pranks, because in pranks you're going up to strangers and you're
Mm-mm.
like within
You're
their
not social
distance.
distancing.
Yeah, like that's what he says, and it kind of makes sense. But I'm just thinking like, how would they even cater the algorithm to that? But man, I don't know what it is, because all our videos, like the prank genre right now, every video is getting nuked hard.
Really?
Yeah,
See,
60, 70% cut.
like the education side is, I guess, what I'm on. We've been getting like pretty big bump. Like, and like I was slacking on content for like a few weeks, and I was still getting more traffic than normal. So I don't know what that has to do. It might be changes to the algorithm. That's super strange.
Yeah, it's weird. I like to think that it's not like Because at first I thought they nuked my channel because I had 6 of my 7 uploads removed, which is like bad. And I figured YouTube's like, okay, if this guy's going to keep breaking the rules, we're just not going to recommend his stuff, which makes sense. But it happened to other YouTubers too. So it's a weird time. At the end of the day, you know, I'm very grateful to be able to make videos for a living,
Yeah, it's
but
pretty cool.
it's hard to forget that, or it's hard to remember that rather,
Yes.
because, you know, years ago, I wouldn't have imagined myself here, but like when you're in the present moment, it's tricky. An example would be like, do you ever watch Joe Rogan
Yeah.
podcast? Yeah. So a lot of the time he's talking about these situations about the Corona thing, how like he can't even go out to eat anymore and like all these issues he deals with. But like he, I remember seeing this article about like, you know, how he's changing and how he can't relate to a normal guy anymore because he's in such a bubble of wealth and location in like
And
LA
status.
and fame, like that he's kind of lost touch with the common guy. And sometimes when you're uh, in a position where maybe you're doing really good, like whether it's YouTube or money, you kind of have that same feeling. And even though people around the world would kill to be in the position you're in, it still doesn't change that you're stressed or anxious or you know, down. And it's weird. So I think the lesson is that like the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You know, even if you have all these views or this money, it still doesn't equate to like happiness, right?
Bliss. Yeah.
No, no,
And,
it's never bliss.
and something I always say is 'cause, like people will be like, they'll think that either money, status, or some sort of fame will cure all their problems. It's like that's not the case whatsoever. It simply just changes their problems. Like people are like human beings, we're emotional beings. So money just creates a new set of problems that are simply different from yours. So like a broke person has their set of problems. A lot of them are attributed to wealth. But then when you attain wealth, it's just a new set of problems. So it's like
Mhm.
no one is better or worse. They're just different. But because the poor people, they attribute the majority of their issues to wealth. They just think that that is the magic ticket because they haven't experienced the change that comes from actually acquiring that.
Mhm.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's difficult to articulate from people. And luckily, I grew up in a relatively like fortunate position where my parents were like upper middle class, so I could see that like money isn't everything, right? Because I grew up with people who were like, where I went to school. It was situated right in the middle between two government housing complexes. So like I got like a full mix of like people who were like super wealthy, people who were like dirt poor, and some of the
Mhm.
happiest families were like broke living on government housing. So I think seeing the contrast, and then there was other people that were super wealthy that their family life was super messed up in the reality, but like they project that it's perfect. So it was really cool to see the fact that like money and status, it doesn't really mean that much if
Mhm.
the foundations you're not happy with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. Like the happiest times uh, I was were like simple times, man. Like the first time when I was doing before I did Jack Denmo, when I was a forest firefighter, we'd be out in the woods for a couple weeks at a time with no like internet
Yeah.
technology. After like 2 or 3 days, your brain changes and you go like, wow, like when I get back, I'm never watching TV again. I'm never going on my laptop. Humans are really good at adapting, and I think that the simpler our lives are, the more straightforward they are because the problems we create our own problems, like, you know, exercise, getting food. And if you don't have any problems, you manifest them, I think, in places that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's entrepreneurship's great too, though. I think that, you know, my situation right now is different. I feel like it'd be stressful to a lot of people, but um, obviously, people that watch your podcast, they're entrepreneurial. I hope they are. I hope they
Yeah.
don't just like you, you know, I hope they
Yeah.
actually want to learn, you know,
Yeah.
but the happiest time of my life, well, two of them actually. One is more for the people watching this that are social, and one is for the entrepreneurs. Um, so when I was in my first year of school, or this would have been like 1 year before I started my Jack Denmo channel. I had recently had a channel shut down, and I was doing Conor McGregor highlights, like big UFC highlights, and my channel got shut down. But I made like 20K or something like that channel shut down. And but I had the confidence, like, I can actually make this work if I just, this summer, I don't work for anybody. I just, every day I wake up like I'm at a job, every day of the week, and I drive somewhere like I'm going to the office, and I just work on it. After the third or fourth month, money will come in. And I did that, man. And like, schools are empty in the summertime. I don't know if you've ever used Guelph facilities during the summer. Dude, it's like an office. You go there, set up
Empty.
a laptop.
Yeah.
So I would do that at this school called McMaster or Mohawk in Hamilton. And I would show up every day, like 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. I'd be there. I'd drive out from Caledonia, 30 minutes away, fire up my laptop. I'd work all day, take a lunch break, 5 o'clock, go to the gym, come home. And then I was just in this big empty school. I'd go outside in the beautiful sun. I'd eat my lunch. Nobody else would be around. Like, the school is empty besides cafeteria employees. And all I would do all day was just edit these UFC videos, which I loved doing. There was like nothing better. I was so on my purpose and passionate, right? And I was making money doing it. It was nothing better, man. It was the best. And then on weekends, I'd just hang out with friends or bang chicks. So it was great. And then second happiest time was when I was finishing up school. I came back. So I was doing this compilation business. So I had money coming in, which I liked. I was in school, so I was like around like-minded people my age, same interests. We'd have like group projects, which would keep me sharp. I'm constantly working with others, even though I'm working by myself for my business. I also was in a relationship. I had a girlfriend. I had my other friends, like my legacy friends. and then I decided I'm not busy enough. I got a job one day a week working as a bartender at my school. So now at the bar, I'm talking to people, I'm socializing, and every other day of the week, I'm like, fuck, like Thursday, I have a bar shift. So every other day I'd work harder. I'd wake up an hour early and I would get all my stuff done because I knew Thursday, like I'm committed to this bar shift. So I was working at the bar while I was in class, man. I would be editing videos for YouTube for this compilation channel. And then I had a girlfriend, I had these friends, so I'd see them at the end of the day. And I also started my YouTube channel. So every weekend I'm doing drunk interviews. So like now everything is coming together, man. Like, you got a job, a business, you're in school, you got personal relationships, and a YouTube channel. So I didn't have time to be stressed, man. I was just at full capacity.
Just doing it.
Yeah. And that was probably, with that other time, the best time of my life. Mm-hmm. So even if you run your own business, or yeah, like, I guess for you, like, if I were you, I would join, I know you played sports at Guelph, but I would join like extracurricular sports team. I'd pick up like a once a week job, just because that way every other day, all of a sudden you're like, shit, like I can't.
Stuff to do.
Yeah, I have stuff to do. And the social circles, right? Because now, you got these people that you work with at the bar. You got the kids from your class. You got your relationships on the side. And then these people you meet doing YouTube videos. For you'd be podcasts, marketing clients, but like even playing a round of golf with some of your clients, right? Like, make yourself busy. And that is the key, I think, to happiness. And when it's cabin fever and you're stuck inside, you don't have that. You don't have any of that. So that's why you fill up that space with pain.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that completely. And I think a lot of people, they don't maximize their school experience because they don't do that. Like, they don't fill their time with things, and they don't see the benefit that comes from doing that. And I think the real value of school, depending what program you're in, but the majority of them are BS. I took a business major, and I can say that it was absolute horseshit. But like, I got value from it because I made sure to do exactly what you said. I filled my time and I spread myself across a bunch of different groups, because this is the only opportunity likely that you're ever going to have that many motivated, like-minded people at your disposal. So if you don't take advantage of that, that is entirely on you. That's completely on you. So exactly like you said, like, you don't see the benefits of that until you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, that's why like these videos I'm doing, like, I can't just go anywhere. Like, if you go and film at a campus, you have so many of these highly energized, like, interviews, drunk interviews. Everybody's out at the bar to have a good time.
Yeah.
Everybody's drunk. Everybody's like fired up. They just worked all week. So they're relaxed. They're chill. Everybody at the gym, they're all there to work together. And like, Same with campuses. So like filming there, it's really easy and predictable.
Mhm.
But on a day-to-day basis, like if you're in traffic, people are stressed out, they're swearing, they're upset. So like you have to really take advantage of these people, these little pockets of people. And as you get older, man, you get out of school. So like Guelph, you're a local, I guess now, but like most people, they're from fucking, Stratford, Hamilton, whatever. School ends, they all go back. They're living with their parents, and now they don't go out every weekend, which isn't a bad thing, but like they have a really like their social circles depleted, and they get a job out of school, and they have to pay off their debt. They think this is the good thing. Next thing you know, like women, because of the fertility window, by 26 they're trying to settle down and have kids because they need an employer that'll give them benefits,
Mat leave.
maternity leave. So there's all this stress and pressure. And to be honest, it makes people old and boring, really. And they're never going to have that fire or energy or position where you can easily just walk up, meet someone, and that's it. Like when you get older and you're an adult, you have this thick shell around you. Like, hey, like, I don't know you. Or imagine this, Ben. Imagine like you're 30, right? And you're walking around the city one day and some guy comes up to you and says, hey, man, like, want to be friends? You're going to be like, well, you don't have any friends? Like, why would – this is weird. Some guy came up to me and asked to be friends with me the other day.
Yeah.
Like, is he gay? Is he trying to suck my dick? Is he a loser? Is he a killer? But in reality, all he's doing is just trying to make friends. And but when you're in school, when you're young, you get away with that.
Yes.
Everyone's like, oh, right. But so that's why, like, the friends you make now in your 20s, those are going to be your friends for life. And if you don't, then you're going to have the same small circle, and it'll either limit you socially or it'll limit your career.
Yeah.
Because, if all your friends are working, office jobs, that's the norm. Ben, when are you going to give up on that podcast thing, man? Like,
Yeah,
right?
no, I 100% know exactly what you mean, and you couldn't be more spot on. And that's why I did try to do that physically in person, trying to like diversify myself across as many people and as many groups in school. But that's like the main reason why I started this podcast, because like you, like there aren't people that want to do what I want to do around here. So for my mindset was, how can I get to know people like Jack? Like, this is the perfect example. When I DM'd you, had I just said, yo, you want to come chat for an hour? You'd have been like, who is this weirdo? Is he
For sure.
what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Right? But like you throw a microphone into it, you control the environment. Now it's like an opportunity, and yet the result is still the same, that we leave friends after, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's true. I remember, I don't remember the exact time you DM'd me, but I remember like I was going to Guelph that day.
Yeah.
So I was setting up a kill, and
Massive.
I was setting up a kill and the podcast with you. And like at the time, since I come to Guelph all the time to film videos, it was like convenient for me. But like, yeah, if it was just some random guy wanting to hang out, like sometimes when I'm on campuses filming, like I'll run into fans and I'll chill with people, and it's totally fun. But like when you try to premeditate stuff, like, hey, you overthink it. You go, should I drive out an hour just to hang out with this guy? Like the value thing, right? The value thing. If you have a podcast, though, all of a sudden
it's different.
It's like there's value there.
Yeah.
And even I remember, like, I met you probably a year and a half ago, and dude, I'm telling you, as you probably experienced this actually too, but so many people I know, or people I don't know, that have reached out to me, they've started a channel. They're like, hey, I'm going to do this video. And they give up. They quit after like 2 uploads. They get to 20 subscribers. They do a bunch of videos. They don't do well. And they just give up and quit. And you're like the only guy that's been working the whole time, You are basically like even closer friends of mine than you that I see on a regular basis. Like they used to have a YouTube channel. They put up stuff. And then they just wouldn't stick with it. But like for a year and a half, it's just like how to optimize your Instagram, how to do this and that. You were at, I think, I want to say a couple hundred subscribers, maybe 1,000.
Yeah. Well, when we first met, I'd say probably just over 1,000.
Just over 1,000. Yeah. Your best video was like rehabilitating your knee or something like that.
Yeah. It was so random, dude.
Yeah. And the podcast got like 50 views, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you just kept doing it, and now you're at like what, 25,000, something like that.
33 as of yesterday.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Once you get that, like the first 1,000 were super hard,
Oh God, yeah.
and then I went just from 1,000 to like 10,000 was also like 6 months. But then 10 to 20, 20, 40, I went. It goes quick, bro. It
I
goes quick.
know. It took me like a while to get to 1,000. Probably I'd say like 6, 7 months, and then now I get like 4 or 5,000 a month. So like back then that would have been like holy, like that's the dream, and then you just kind of it does compounds and it snowballs from there.
Yeah, it's literally all compound. Um, like these guys that are at the top, like millions of subscribers, like their content doesn't even have to be good, but
No,
they have
they've
such a fan base now.
yeah, and they have so much leverage. And I think what a lot of people don't understand about social media is that it's it's a lot more like human interaction than people realize in some aspects. Like when you are getting your video pushed, it's because YouTube or Instagram or whatever has developed a level of trust within you. So it's like you have now shown that time and time again you are reliable for making them money essentially. So that's like if you have a friend that you know is super reliable and you need to get something done, who are you going to call? That
It's true.
guy, right? So it's the exact same shit with YouTube. They're like, okay, they know that Jack is going to give me this many views, this much money. I'm going to show them Jack's video.
Yeah, man. I mean, YouTube doesn't trust me anymore. But
But they once did. So I want to I want to touch about like your jobs for 1 second here. Is that you mentioned that you worked at the M&R? I currently have a buddy who's out there right now. Shout out to Kyle, and
yeah.
he like for you. You're like obviously a hyper social person. What was it like being so isolated, and what was the positives that came from that experience?
So when I worked he's working for the M&R.
Yeah.
So, oh, interesting. So when I went out there at the time, I just graduated from a trade, and it was a high paying trade. It was drilling, and I only went in it because of the money.
Hmm.
So it was like March or April, and I was like, shit, if I get a job in drilling once I graduate, I'm just going to do that for 30 years. So I was kind of nervous. I was anxious. So I'm like, I need a way out of this. So I figured, what if I could find a job where, um, if I want to, I can go back to school in September. Because like once you have a full time job, you can't just guys like. I mean, you could quit, but they don't like that. And I was worried about stuff like that. So I was like, what if I just found a job that only lasts for 5 months? And that's the Ministry of Natural Resources job, forest firefighter. So I did this fitness test. I did like all this training. I paid a couple $1,000s to like get a certification. And then I just packed everything I had on my back, and I took a train and a plane up to Fort Francis all by myself. And I had like a guitar. I was into music at the time, so whenever I wasn't working, I would just write songs, drink coffee, and I lived by myself. I had like one guy with me, but he quit because he couldn't deal with the stress. So he went back to his house, and this was like way up north where we were working.
Hmm.
So it was interesting, but I think it was really good for me because a lot of people say like, I just want to travel the world. Like the world it's pretty similar everywhere. Like the reason people want to travel is because it's vacation, man. You're not actually
Yes.
working.
Hmm.
Like you and I, if we're working on our laptop in Hawaii, that'd be pretty cool. But like the work part isn't the traveling. We're working, but we're in this place.
Yes.
So, but when I was up there, man, I was working all day, and I realized like what I did and didn't want to be, because on paper I'm like, wow, like I'm outdoors all the time. I get to travel to put out forest fires. I'm saving lives technically, because if
Hmm.
the forest burns, people will die, right? And when I was out there, I realized, one, that if you're ever really stressed, the best thing to do is just be out in nature, because real quick you go back to like old times where as long as you have water, shelter, fire, life is gravy. And two, um, I realized that like a lot of the people I worked with, and just people up there in general, like they just kind of they picked that job not because it was their passion, but because
Convenience.
it was just convenient, it was available, and most of they didn't really have like hobbies or passion or purpose. Like it's weird because up there they're a lot simpler in a good way. So like fishing, friends, family, drinking,
Yep.
hunting, lots of hunting. So like they're living probably the best life out of any of us. But when you're born and raised in a city and you know about everything else that exists in the world, like movies, TV, it's just too simple up there. So that really lit a fire in me. I was like, as nice as this is, like, I think that I now had the confidence, like, I don't have to just do labor my whole life. And I ended up going back to school for another program. I didn't like that. But yeah, when you're in isolation, it's actually good for you. I think that at the end of this cabin fever quarantine, I'm going to come out like what's the term? A sphinx from the ashes or something like that.
Yeah.
You know the one I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you will too, buddy. Like, Guelph sucks apparently all year round, right?
In terms
Like,
of what?
well, you said like it's a ghost town once
During
school's out.
during the summer, it's somewhat of a ghost town. Definitely dramatically changes, like traffic levels is like drops dramatically. And then the winters here, like we get a fair amount of snow. It's weird because I'm only from like 40 minutes away from here, but we get dramatically more snow in Guelph than we do from where I'm from. So that part sucks.
Where's
But
the other part you're from?
I'm from Oakville.
Oh, you're from Oakville.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit. See, I don't really like Oakville either, to be honest. But
Yeah. No, there's parts of Oakville I love, and then there's a lot of aspects that I don't really love. But yeah. So when you were out there at the M&R, was it in Pickle Lake? Was that where you were?
No, it was
Okay.
Fort Francis.
Okay.
Fort Francis. Yeah, we went to a fire in this place called Red Lake, but it's mostly like Northern Ontario, where dude, there's like I think there might be the most lakes in the world in Ontario.
Wow.
There's thousands, man. It's crazy.
It's a lot of fishing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to fly us out to fires because there's no roads, so we'd have
Yeah,
to.
yeah, you got to fly out. That's pretty badass, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So if
Most fires. Oh, go ahead.
no, you got it. You got it. Most fires, what?
I was gonna say most fires they just let them burn out because they're not near anything.
So they can just do their thing.
Yeah, we only had to go to the fires that were near cities, towns, or reserves.
Okay,
So,
dope.
yeah.
So what if someone listening to this starting today, and I'm sure you get bombarded with this question all the time, and someone was just starting, let's say, a business or a YouTube channel, what advice would you give to them?
It's tricky. There's two ways to go about it. It just depends, like, what your goal is. So, like, if you want, it's tricky. So, for like YouTube or a business?
Let's take two different answers.
Okay. So, the example I do would be like, let's say YouTube. You can find a niche that you're truly passionate about, really into, and just it's all you think about, all you want to do. And then that way, when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like work. So, like, editing, uploading, it doesn't feel like work. Now, initially, for months, possibly years, you're not going to make money. You're not going to get a lot of views, but you won't even care because, like, I remember when I first started, when I would release what I consider like a really good video, a funny video that I like put a lot of work into, even when it didn't do good, I didn't care. It was awesome. And this was mostly because, like, I had other stuff occupying my time. If I did that and I had nothing going on, I'd probably take it personally and be upset. But that if someone does that, it could take them like 5-6 years, right? What you could also do is find something that you kind of like, that you're good at, and you can force yourself to do it. And there's a huge demand for it, a huge market for it. So, like, you don't wake up every day loving Instagram, I don't think, but like you like it enough that you can like do it. So that's what I was like with like these interviews and pranks. And what you'll do is you'll save half the time. You'll get to that level of opportunity and success within like 2 years. But eventually there will come a point where you kind of like sit back and go, this isn't actually what I want to do. And now I'm kind of stuck doing this. Like, you could almost feel trapped. Like, sometimes, it's different every day, but sometimes I'll be like, like what we were talking about before, like maybe I would be happier if I wasn't doing this at all. So it's weird, but at the same time, the plan would be either spend 5 or 6 years building it, or spend 2 years doing this explosive trend thing, and then finding a way to pivot. Because right now, I've already kind of realized that I have to change my content eventually. Otherwise, I just won't care about it. And so now I can ease into the other stuff as my audience gets older.
So
Same with business too, actually. Yeah.
okay, so I want to hear your business answer in a second, but the first thing is like that pivot is very very difficult. So how are you going to approach that pivot? Just slowly implementing it?
Yeah, it's tricky for me because so the first pivot I did was when I jumped from drunk interviews to pranks. You
Yes.
know, I got all my friends. Here's my plan. Here's what we're gonna do, and it worked really good. It worked awesome. Uh, kind of crushed my social life for a while. I remember I was in a relationship with a girl. It ruined that. I was in the friend groups that I couldn't spend time with them because like whenever they wanted to drink or hang out,
You were working.
I was working, right, and really ate away at me. But that pivot led to like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And then the next pivot would have been finding a way to make money. And the way I made money was through that course, which at the time was great. And it still is because I'm helping people. But now, like, I just, I'm getting older. Like, I've done so much. Like, I would film 4 or 5 of these pickup line videos a day. Like, I'm just exhausted from doing it. And I realized that, like, what's the next thing? So the next pivot for me would be I have to do something close enough to my target audience that I also enjoy. And that would be pranks because I would do these pranks. I still do pranks, but when I would do them, they wouldn't do as well. And the pickup line videos would do really good. But now what I'm thinking, Ben, is I'll just I wouldn't say force them, but like I'm going to be like, hey guys, pickup line videos are going to be on this channel now. I'm only going to do 1 a month. And then eventually I'll just do just pranks on this channel. And I have a couple other things I want to do. So there's a talk show I'm going to do. It's not like a podcast. It's like a game show.
Okay.
And I've been planning it for a long time, but I don't want to give it away right now, but there's a huge, basically what people love about my videos, they
Yeah.
will get it in a 10-minute clean format with like, they will like it a lot. And it'll be more personal because I'll be myself on it. I won't
Okay.
have to be in
A
prank mode.
character. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I won't have to be a character. And the plan with pivoting in the States is I have all these fans in the States. And as long as I hit each state, each city, each school once, and I let people know, guys, like, I'm going on this big road trip. I'm going to be Albuquerque this day. Let's meet. I can, all the people that are kind of, like, let's say you watch a YouTuber and you like them, but if you met them and actually
Different
got to go
experience.
out,
Yeah.
bro, you'd be like, now you're like, you ride or die for them, right? So what I'll do is I'll do that with all my existing fans. And that way, once I have that strong connection with all them, the same one that I get from like Hokos, they will be more likely to stick around and trust when I change my content.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
So
that answer a lot.
yeah, it'd be slow. Like the pickup lines, separate channel, and I won't actually have to do them anymore because that's the difference. A lot of these guys that sell courses, like they're old. Some of them have video footage of them talking to girls, but like they don't have anywhere near as much as I do. Like I can literally never approach a girl again, and I have like thousands of videos and examples.
Proving that you did it, yeah.
Not even just proving it, but like if there's somebody will say like, "Hey, what do I do in this situation?" I could be like, "Well,
I did this.
I did this, and here it is," and that's relieving to me. Same with like drunk interviews. Like all the questions I asked, like most of the questions are stupid, but some of them were like really good questions, and like now I know what people think about them, which means I can sell based off that information. And another thing too is there's other YouTubers that do videos that I'm more interested in that I don't. So like, for example, there's a YouTuber called How to Beast. He does these videos. They're like fitness, they're confidence videos. There's another YouTuber I like called Ross Creations, and Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss. I can finally collaborate with these guys, and once you collaborate with them, you can kind of open up their audience to your stuff as well, and then let your audience know that, hey, I do this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you show the possibilities of things that you could do, then they will tell you like, hey, like that, I will watch that. So like, for example, sometimes I'll do a video of like, hey guys, like, comment your idea below, which is cliche. But if I have an idea in my head, like, hey guys, if you want to see this, let me know. And then everybody comes out and tells me that they do want to see it. So that's how the course came about. It was because of the Virgin Squad thing,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
right?
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So thank you for sharing that. And then what would your answer to be for some quick advice for someone starting a business?
Hmm. Okay, I got an idea. So I have a couple buddies that they all run their own small businesses, and I met them mostly because when I would go to work, I'd bring my laptop to like a library or a cafe, and I thought it was the most original idea ever was to like go work in this empty school. But there are other people that do that too, like doppelgangers of me, so to speak. The difference is though, is they didn't do YouTube videos. They did like, accounting services or digital marketing, stuff like you. And through this group, they're all very unique. I mean, the five main guys in this group, one of them does drop shipping. One of them has a performance gym. One of them has a videography company, and one of them has an animation company. And the example for the animation guy, he's about 30, 31 now, so he's been doing this a couple of years. But basically, what he did was he started a business doing animations for corporations. So when you're training new employees, or you have a new product coming, or you're, whatever reason, when you're in a company, there's these meetings you have to attend, and they have these big PowerPoint slides. Sometimes they have animations. So that was his niche. His niche was like doing those animations. And what he would do is he learned how to do it. So he probably took like 6 months to a year to learn how to make these animations. He got a couple clients, word of mouth. Next thing you know, he was doing, retainer fees. So kind of like you, a couple $1,000s a month. And he would do that. And he was good enough that he could do the actual work if he had to. So what he started to do though is once he got so much work, he started to ease off and he started to hire other people. So what he did was he got overseas people to do it,
Hmm.
because like Fiverr, animations, and then he would put it together, and all he would end up doing would be just generating leads.
And the
And
client
then they'd call
relationship.
him, and yeah, they'd be like, "Hey, can you change this?" And he would. And if he ever got fucked over by like a mistake, a bad employee, he could always swoop in, fix it, change whatever needed to be changed. But he established these relationships with these people where he could trust their work. Next thing you know, he starts landing bigger clients. He had a client with ExxonMobil, big gas
Wow.
company.
Yeah.
Um, I did a voiceover for him for a pharmaceutical company, and now he literally travels the world like 8 months of the year, and he'll just go to like Thailand, Europe, Mexico, and him and a couple other buddies with their laptops. They just have online businesses, and the kicker here is that this business he did, it wasn't even like his passion. It was just his passion was having his own business,
Okay.
being in control of his own company and finding ways to make money so that he could live the lifestyle he wanted. But like he didn't love animation. He didn't love, I think that's something a lot of people do wrong. And it kind of contradicts what I said. The difference because the reason I did stuff that I wasn't the biggest fan of for YouTube is the same reason, because there's a huge opportunity for it. But the problem is it's hard to separate the personal brand from like my real life brand, because now I am the face of this business. But like him, the animation company has nothing to do with him. It's just business. Just like the social media marketing company has nothing to do with Ben Levin. It's a total separate entity. So you can escape it. You can leave the office, right? So the sweet spot would be if you could find a business like that where there's just a demand and it's not too hard to do, but you can do it, automate it, and the next thing you know, you can like travel
Have
or live in
freedom.
a country like Miami or Florida, and you work from your laptop, and other people do the hard stuff for you. And it doesn't matter what the business is, because as long as um, you're just doing a little bit of work a day, like overseeing it, you're basically just like a leader, right?
Hmm.
So my advice would be like find an opportunity like that,
Yeah.
a business some people want, and you don't even have to like it a lot. You just have to like the behind the scenes stuff, like
The process of it all.
calling them, getting a deal set up, negotiating price, accounting, hiring employees, meeting people in person. Like my roommate Zed, you know Zed.
Yep.
he's a really good fencer. He did fencing for a couple years.
Really?
Yeah, so he started his own fencing company,
That's so
and
cool.
he's got a work truck. And so for fencing, what they do is they charge by the foot. They
Yeah.
charge like $40 to $60 per foot, depending. And it only costs like $16, $17 per foot, the actual wood. So what he'll do is he'll charge double materials. So let's say the fence is $3,000 worth of wood. He'll charge 6,000. It'll take him 2 days to build it, and he'll get a friend or a laborer to help him, pay them hourly, and that profit of like $3,000 is just idle. The only thing that comes out of that profit is the wages.
Mm.
But if you think about it, you hire a guy 20 an hour for like 2 days. That's like at most $400. So he'd be pocketing like 2 or 3 grand a weekend,
That's awesome.
reaching his full potential. And all he's doing is building fences. Like he doesn't love building fences,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he likes running a business, right? So that would be it. Like for business, if you just find something that there's demand for, and better yet, if you can do something like you do, where you're only working from your laptop, that would be key. Because if he travels, somebody would have to be building a fence.
Defense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
Here,
get that
right?
completely. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and that's why I love what I do so much is the fact that it is completely freedom. Like the fact that I can do what I'm doing right now anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? Like as
Yeah.
long as there's an internet connections, no, I love that. And I love taking full advantage of that because it's out there, right? It's possible. So
Mhm.
what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received and why was it so impactful for you?
Mm. It's tricky. I've got a lot of good advice. One one of my best mentors was a professor of mine, a really smart guy, marketing guy, and he would always send me like these gem emails. And there's a Mark Cuban quote, and it was like, um, "Focus on what you're good at. When you're good at something, it tends to be because you enjoy it, and if you enjoy doing something, you get good at it because
Yep.
you do it a lot. So focus on what you're good at." Um, Now, what I was good at was just being funny and getting people to pay attention to me, socializing, talking, winning people over. So naturally, that's why the pranks and interviews came easy to me. But if that was something you're good at, sales would be it. It'd be sales. If you're good at, let's say, I feel like a lot of people that are in the sports, athletes, fitness, they're really good at discipline
Mhm.
because they have to wake up early. They have to lift weights when they're tired. They have to work with teams. I think people should find out the skills they're good at and then find out what industries those skills are good in. So like um, my buddy that does the fences, he's physically a huge dude, but he grew up, his dad was a mechanic, so he was always fixing small stuff. And he just basically got good at like little labor skills. And then when you combine that with like the charisma and sales, he can just get deals now. The animation guy, maybe he liked working alone. He liked working by himself. He liked being the boss that delegates work instead of working with a bunch of other people. So he found a way he could work from his laptop. Um, the best advice I'd give that's practical, like just raw, straight advice, would be get off of social media. Um, if I could go back, I'd find a way to like have a business. Well, for me, I have to be on social media, but I would hopefully find a way to pay somebody to run it all for me.
Mhm.
That's what I'm working towards because social media, it's the best angles, the best photos, the whole algorithm. And when you put something on it and it doesn't do well, you think that it's because you aren't, because it's your personal, right? It's not your business. It's not your brand. Like if your business has not many followers, like you don't care because
No.
it's like you'd want it to for sales, but it's not you. It's a business. But when it's you on there, man, and you see other people doing good, and it just stresses you out. Plus, it's addictive. You start checking all the time. It your brain is like this cup, right? And at the start of the day, you have your motor skills, your motivation, your incentive to focus, pay attention, and then when you have lunch in like a heavy at 2 o'clock, you're just tired. Like you're looking at the clock, like is it 5 o'clock yet? You're just trying to like get the day done. Um, as the day goes on, our motivation levels drop. So I would say every day you start with it, and then as the day goes on, it goes down a bit. But when you go on social media first thing in the morning, when you like scroll Instagram or Tinder or news, negativity, if you're like looking at other people, it's going to drop way quicker than that. And then it's going to be like 11 a.m. and all of a sudden, like writing those emails or creating that video or that thing, um, all that dopamine and euphoria that you experience when you complete stuff, like when you have momentum, you're doing good things. That's all gone because you blew through all that
So
by
quickly.
scrolling social media. And it's a trick, man. It's a trick. We're like little monkeys. We're on there, and even you could have the best day ever. You could like bang out sick videos, and you could go on Instagram or whatever, and you could see somebody doing way better than you, and all of a sudden you just feel like shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I love a bunch of what you said there, and I think the two biggest things is like the fact that you're totally right. Like what you are, what you consume. So I think a big thing that I've done is gone through and really moderated my consumption. So like dictating who I'm following because they are going to be what I'm exposed to. So ensuring that that is a positive influence and making sure that I'm not consuming negative things because regardless of who you are, how strong you think you are what you consume. So that's something that's paramount. And then another thing that you said there was, and that's exactly the same thought process that I went when I decided like what I wanted to do was in my ideal life, I'm in the NFL playing football for a living. Unfortunately, like that's not possible for me. You know what I mean? So like
yeah,
that ship has sailed. So what I did through doing that is like I actually took the time to analyze like what did I love so much about football? Like what were the elements of that and how can I kind of get as close to that as possible in a working environment that's
mm,
sustainable long term and also brings in money. So that was my thought process to it. So it was really cool to see that you had the same sort of approach.
yeah, yeah. I didn't think it through at the beginning. I just fell into it.
Yeah,
But that's I think what makes people stick around, right?
for sure.
Yeah, if you jump into something thinking like, well, without really thinking it through, you'll probably hit a wall and you'll burn out because it's just not there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like the biggest problem, well, not problem, but just in, the, the biggest situation right now is access to information, and it could be good, but like it's like crack, man. Like the
Yeah, yeah.
internet, computer, this media, and you don't realize it, but like you get way more done when you're not on it at all. It's like you're a different person. It's like going in the wilderness, except going without internet. It's basically like, you know, the most. I used to work in a chicken factory, and all day we would just kill chickens. It was awful, but I'd get there like 5 a.m. and it was cold, and we'd have like a 30-minute lunch break, and I'd work like 12, 13 hours on an assembly line, and we would process like 3,000 birds a day. And I've never come anywhere close to being as productive as I was then. Like, I would do as much, if I had to be there editing videos all day, I could probably get like the same amount of work that I get done in like 4 days of my own schedule as I could there. And there's something really powerful about that. When you are in an environment where like, you can't go on your phone, you can't go on the internet, and you have a task that's laid out for you to do, uh, you really overcome the barriers that you think you have. Like,
Hmm.
you just do stuff more effectively. It's like you'd run faster if something was chasing you.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, and now it's hard for us to get into that position or mindset because we have routine like every day,
We're
check
so
social
comfortable
media.
too.
Yeah, and the people around you too. Like, I'm kind of or not a victim, but an instance of this. Like, I know some days when I'm down, I'm not giving that good energy back to people. Just like how there were times in my life I'd be hanging out with people that were just like bums, man. They were just depressed. They would sleep in. They wouldn't want to have a side hustle, and you start to like become like them,
Mm.
and you have to avoid those people, and you have to catch yourself when you are that guy because if you surround yourself with like savages that'll fire you up, then you keep that momentum, right?
It's infectious. It keeps everyone moving.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find it on social media yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love Gary Vee. Gary Vee's great, but like, I'd rather have somebody that's like him in real life,
Hmm.
because I go looking at Gary Vee and then I see a girl's ass and then I DM her, like there's so many distractions, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear that, man. I hear that. Well, you've given me so much of your time, so I'll let you get going here in a second. But I just want to ask you one more question. So I've been starting to ask this at the end of every episode, and it's kind of like the dinner party question is essentially what it's called. So in this hypothetical scenario, we're going to host a dinner party. There's going to be 5 people there. 2 of them are you and I, and then the other 3 you get to pick. They can be any people, dead or alive. And then what are we having for the main course, and what is dessert?
Ooh, okay. So, ironically, like, since I like Joe Rogan so much, I'm a big fan of like what he does. I like his hobbies, like hunting in
Yep.
particular, and he always seems to be cooking like a nice, healthy elk steak
Yeah,
that
they
he
look so
shot
good.
himself,
Yeah.
right? With like some avocados and vegetables. So that would be the meal. It'd be, we all went out hunting as a group and we shot some elk, barbecued it, got
Huge.
some avocados, some like real fresh veggies. He's one of the guests. The other 2 guests, I'd probably have like a real. So he'd be great, Joe Rogan, because he's like close enough to what we do that we could relate to him in that way. Another person I really like would be probably like a famous filmmaker or director. So someone like Tarantino, I guess, really, just his brain is different, man.
Different. Yeah, that's the exact word I was going to use.
Yeah, it's different. And then I kind of get somebody that is in between, like an older, wiser person that has kind of lived through everything and is in a close enough industry. So like someone like Morgan Freeman, just like an old, wise actor, and he has kind of just everything he says. There's no thought. It's just it's summarized and concise. Ideally like a intelligent person like a Jordan Peterson.
I thought you were going to say him.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say him too, but I'm just thinking like it would have to be somebody that's older and they're just fire, just
Okay.
like an old wise, a mentor, a
Yeah, yeah.
mentor.
So we got Joe Rogan, Quentin Tarantino, and then Morgan Freeman. Is that our 3?
Those would be the 3. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, then we're having elk and healthy veggies and avocado, whatever, for main course. And then what's for dessert?
Uh, for dessert, man, ice cream. Just keep it
Ice cream.
simple.
What flavor, though?
Vanilla, man.
You're rocking vanilla.
I'm a
Okay.
simple guy, dude. Vanilla or chocolate, honestly.
Fair enough. Does the trick. Well, let's line that up. I'm down for that. So to wrap it all up today, where can people connect with you? Where can they buy your course? How can they get more Jack in their life?
So Jack Denmo on YouTube, Jack Denmo on Instagram. If you're interested in being friends or doing business stuff or just talking to me personally for my non-YouTube character, I actually just made a personal Instagram,
Sweet.
J Denmo. So
J Denmo.
JDENMO. But if you're into like, pranks, pickup lines, drunk interviews, funny content, then Jack Denmo on every platform.
Sweet, man. All right. I'll include a link to all those different channels as well as a link to Jack's course. So if you want to go check that out, it'll be linked in the description box of the podcast. Thanks so much for giving me some of your time, Jack. I hope to do this again very, very soon. I hope we can all get outside soon. And I can't wait to see what comes from your upcoming road trip.
Yeah, bro. Me and Zed will come out to Guelph sometime this summer and
Yeah,
have some backyard beers or whatever.
absolutely. Come through. I'm actually getting a bunch of things done. Like I'm getting a cornhole board made. So we'll get her going.
Yeah, I'm down, man. Keep it
Dope, man.
simple. Spend time
Absolutely,
with
man.
friends. Happy life, dude.
That's it, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jack. And I look forward to talking to you again soon, brother.
Sounds good, buddy. I'll talk to you later, Ben.
Sounds good.